Hola, family. So, two things before we start. Have you subscribed to this channel? If you have, I love you. If you haven't, no hard feelings, okay? Just click on the subscribe and join in the love that I have to share. Secondly, have you signed up for our newsletter? Yes, the newsletter I spoke about last week. Okay. If you haven't, the link to that is in the description box below. Okay. So let's roll. I have a question for you today. Who is your authentic self? Or what is your authentic self? So many thoughts goes into curating what this means for you. But for today's episode, I want to streamline it to these three things: your standards, your ideals, or what textbook would phrase your core values. In today's world, there's so many thought ideas that goes into what your core values are. But one thing that stands out for me is that in order to maintain your authenticity, you need to understand what your values are. And your values are what drives you. Some of what we call values were handed down to us either by birth or naturalization or whatever means. And is that wrong? Absolutely not. But this is all the more reason to understand what it is. Because the truth is, whatever it is you understand, you stand by. This reminds me of a scripture that says that through wisdom is a house built, and by understanding it is established. Because a house can only be a building if it is not established. You need understanding to be able to put function or use to that house. And the same thing goes for your values. You need to understand what your values are and why those things are values to you, why those are the things that drives you. Because when you understand this, whenever you want to do something or you don't want to do anything, you're able to know why I'm doing this thing or why I'm not doing this thing. One thing that happens is that the lack of understanding of a person's values makes compromise becomes easy. I'll say it again. The lack of understanding of your values makes compromise becomes easy. Okay, so I want you to understand what it is that drives you, understand why you're living this, or understand why this is the principle upon which I do the things I do. Let me give you an example for understanding sake, right? On Inspired Impressions, we have our core values that we live by, and those are the things that sponsors the messages and the podcast that we share here. But one thing that we also want to do is that we want to spread Inspired Impressions to go across the globe as far as we can go, okay? And one sure way that this can be done is through what we call trend. Is trend a good thing? Yes, absolutely. But if the trend does not align with what is our already established value, we won't really subscribe to that because we have what would you call in medicine, right? There are things that we call standard books of operation. So you know that you can't give this person this drugs because this is what happens, or according to the standard in Nigeria, you don't give this person this drug, you don't give that person this drug. So that is what they operate by. And on Inspired Impressions too, we have what we operate by. We have our modus operandi. So this guides us as to what kind of trend we will subscribe to. If the trend aligns to our values, then why not? We're going to jump on it. But if it doesn't, we're not. And I want you to also be strict about this in your own life. Have your values, have what you live by, have what you stand by. And that is what is going to give you authenticity. Okay, that's the message I've brought for you here today, to understand your values and maintain your authentic self. I hope that this episode was authentic enough for you. I know that it sounds elementary, but trust me, it is important nonetheless. I look forward to seeing you on the next episode, and have a lovely day ahead. Adios.